Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 533. And today, we're just going to be talking about some good and great things. A bit of a recap. And if you don't know, this is being broadcasted live on YouTube and also on Facebook. YouTube is youtube.com/Joseph Clough, which is CLOUGH, and also facebook.com/Joseph's fan page. So, it's great to be here as always. And I was just saying before we kind of went live to this podcast, we've got 533 episodes, or this will be it, as you're listening to it. And it kind of reminds me that way back in the beginning, I started podcasting years and years ago, like in the early phases of what a podcast was. And in the beginning, I had no idea what was going to happen. I just did it for fun. I just thought, I wonder if I can just create audios and see how they go down, see if we can actually reach people. And over the years, or even over the first year, we kind of jumped from maybe a few hundred every couple of months to then getting like a good 20,000 per month. And now we're going to be up to about 140,000 downloads per month. And there's a little learning within that because, and I've said this recently, but you've got to be so consistent that results will be impossible to be ignored. And it can be in any endeavor, in any situation. You've got to just be consistent. You've got to keep on doing all the things that you've got to be doing to be able to get to where you want to go. And I don't care what dream you have. You might think it's big, too far, out of sight, but let's break it down. Let's consider what we can actually do when it comes to achieving our goals. It's usually just taking the first step. Doing something is better than nothing. Doing something different than you've always done is going to be better. In the episode before the last one, like 3 episodes ago, I was saying about like there's these really wonderful presuppositions, and it's where we've got to be flexible. We've got to be adaptable. And part of being adaptable is being brave enough, being strong enough to do something different. You may have been told many things in the past. You may have been told that you're never going to get to where you want to be. You may have been told that you haven't got the grades, you don't look the right way, you don't sound the right way, you haven't got the intelligence, but that is rubbish. I really believe if you truly desire something and it's in your heart, like you really want to make something happen, then it's time to ignore those who say anything different. Other people's opinions of your dreams, other people's opinions of you, should be none of your business. We care way too much about who we are, how we're going to act and react in situations. That's being self-conscious. Now, the thing is, everyone is doing the exact same thing. They're not even worried about you most of the time. People are so self-absorbed, and I don't say that in a negative way because it's just the subjective reality of life. It is looking through our own eyes, having our own thoughts. Most of the time, people don't really care. They don't even see that potentiality. They're too busy focused on their own stuff or their own goals and dreams. But we tend to pay too much attention as to what people think of us. But I say, look, if you've got a goal, you've got a dream, do something about it. Assume that responsibility. I've said this before as well, but there was a great person called Neville Goddard. And I believe it was in his book, I think it was in like the 1950s or 60s, I might be wrong here, but he said a great quote, and it said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and act upon it with conviction, and therefore you'll be aligned with your dreams and your desires. So assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and act upon it with conviction, and therefore you will be aligned. So it's really saying, look, think of your goals and dreams, notice what it will give you. Not how to get there, but the end outcome. What's it going to allow you to experience? What's it going to give you as a byproduct? Because most of the time, you don't want what you want. You're like, Joseph, of course I want what I want. I wouldn't want it otherwise. But hear me out. Let's say you want money. You don't really want money. You're like, Joseph, but I do want money. Well, yeah, you do, but you want the byproduct of what money will give you. What may that be? Freedom. It might be security. It might be adventures. Like, money is the gateway to what you really want. Joseph, I just want a relationship. That's all I want. You don't want a relationship. You want a shared connection. Because the relationship could be bad. You want a good relationship which we share adventures with, to be a team, to be able to grow in such a powerful way, to have intimacy. So think about what you want, but think about the deeper level of that vision. What is the byproduct of what you want? In other words, what will it give you? What will it allow you to experience? Now, if you start to consider what those goals will get you, or what that dream will really get you, we then have to be able to pivot our mindset, almost to the point where we're going to put the goal to one side and assume the feeling of what that will get you. If it was money, you want to be able to maybe feel, like we said, what were the examples said with freedom, security. There was like the two main ones I think I said. Well, your job is to feel so secure as possible, so free as possible. So therefore, you are bridging the gap because you don't have money, maybe in that example, or you don't have a relationship. Therefore, we're operating from a level of scarcity because I don't have it. But if I think about what it will give me, what it will allow me to experience, there are going to be things that it will get you that you could actually act upon right now. If you wanted a relationship and you're talking about, well, I want shared adventures, well, go on an adventure. You're like, I want to go on dates. Well, go and date yourself for a little bit. Twice a week, sometimes, or at least once a week, I go out by myself to have dinner in a restaurant, or outside, as it's been recently in restaurants, to be able to gather my thoughts, to plan my week. Specifically, recently, it's been on a Sunday evening to plan and prepare my business, my life. And I begin to reflect upon not what I necessarily want to achieve, although it's in my mind. I'm thinking about what it will give me, what it will allow me to experience. And then I'm going to start to consider, well, what else can I do which is exactly that? So when it comes to the money, once again, how can I act out behaviors which allow me to be free or to feel secure? If it was about relationships, how can I look to be able to build relationships with other people? How can I go on adventures? If I can get into that state of mind where I begin to assume the feeling of what my goal is, the byproduct, then not only does it reduce or even let go of all scarcity or lack, but we become energetically aligned to what we want. Because we're operating, we are vibrating, we are radiating the feelings that we want most, even in the little things. Joseph, I just want to be happy and I don't know how to get happy. Well, maybe watch a movie which will make you feel happy, which will give you that feeling, even if it's temporary. Like, you might be like, I'm in a real down state right now. Well, maybe I'm going to watch the movie Rocky. the underdog. Or one of my favorite movies is the Secret Life of Walter Mitty, because there's like lots of journeys there. Well, the one with Ben Stiller in it. And I have to confess and admit, I've probably seen that movie 10 times. I saw it in the cinema when it came out, and I've seen it so many times since, purchased it, because it gives me something every time. There's a journey there. There's something that I'm tuning into, which then causes me to be in an emotional, psychological, and physiological state of mind that is closer to my goals. If I'm just focusing on the goal itself, I don't have it, I feel fearful, it's too hard, I don't know how it's going to happen, I don't know the steps. Now I'm in a lower place than ever, because not only do I want this, but I haven't got it. Unconsciously, you just feel that way. Now Lisa says, wow, that's such a great way to change your perspective, and it absolutely is. Because now we're starting to radiate what we want in this present moment, which means we're in alignment to our desires. Take it back to the Neville Goddard quote. It was a very old quote, like 50 years ago at least. But assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and act upon it with conviction. Now when we're feeling that state, we're going to take action on what we want, because we're accessing that feeling of desire. Our thoughts and our feelings and behaviors are more aligned to it. There's no scarcity. Una says, can you share your favorite feel-good movies? Well, that's a really good question, and a hard one for me to answer right now. But I think my camera just went funny once again, so just bear with me for a second. Let's see what happened. Nothing happened. And I'm not going to edit a podcast, so you're going to get this little... Is that better? Has that gone back? I don't know what happened. We'll go with it anyway. So when it comes to good feel-good movies, I'll have to think. Maybe we'll do an episode about that. That might be a good one, because then we can reflect. Maybe we can have like a little blog post and we all add them, because you know what? Una, you might be going, Joseph, you've got to see this movie. And I'm like, I've not seen that movie. But we can then play it out to different things. And like by play music. What songs make you feel good? You know there is a song out there, when it's played, it changes your neurology. It gives you that shiver. For some people, it could be like Florence and the Machine. I remember my mum telling me one day, and every time I listen to that song, it now sends shivers down my spine, because I know the meaning behind it. But it was I think it was called The Dog Stays Over. And if I'm going for a run and it just kind of plays, then I run that bit faster. My energy is up. So music will give you that edge. It will change your emotional state, in other words. You don't always have to do all the work. Yes, get help, get support, have a mentor, have a coach, all those things as an ideal. But remember, don't rely upon anything else to change your state if you've got things you can use right now. Steve says, the as-if framework. Absolutely. And to break that down, just to let everyone know, there is that level of act as if you already have it. Now, there's one disclaimer there, because I get thrown around too often. Acting as if you are a professional, acting as if you've mastered everything, is illusionary. It's illusionary, because you may not know everything, and you might trip up, and you may fail, you might even hurt people. So what we're saying here, when we typically hear act as if you've got it already, true to some degree, but don't convince yourself that you know everything already, that you are a professional at what you do, if you're not a professional. I'm really going rather act as if and pretend and lie through life. I'm saying assume the feeling of your goal, because you will then be inspired to take action, and you will be energetically, psychologically, and more physiologically aligned to it. And because it removes scarcity, it will bridge the gap. In other words, you won't self-sabotage yourself. So we've got to get into that mindset. That's what we've got to do. And Steve said once again, I won't go and test drive that Lamborghini tomorrow then. Well, to a degree, like, if you want to be able to know how it feels to have it, all pretty good. But if you don't want to be going to your friends, look, I've got a Lamborghini, because you've been hallucinating it in your mind so often, because that is just wishful thinking. But you could test drive something. I know for a fact before I purchased this home, I used to always, in a previous place, always look at other homes. I used to go to homes, like just like go around them, because I wanted to feel what it feels like to be in a good neighborhood. I wanted to be able to experience it. I wanted to feel those feelings. But I'm not going to lie and pretend that I've got that home, but I can assume the feeling of having achieved it. I can assume the feeling in other areas of my life. That's the key point here. I'm not going to pretend that I have money, because that's not right. But can I feel the feelings of what money will give me? For example, freedom. Now, when it comes to freedom, what can I do which is not money, which is still freedom? Well, I can go, for me personally, I'll go to the beach, the ocean, and I will feel free. Nothing to do about money, but I'm operating from that feeling. Therefore, I am radiating, or at the very least, more aligned with my desire. And yeah, dream boards are a great idea. In fact, on another episode, I will bring up one of my dream boards when here's the thing, right? Let's go a little bit deeper into it. I do this on my weekend seminar. It was based on my book, Be Your Potential, or it came from aspects of it. So it's also in there as well. But I literally, when I was probably 23 years old, I did a timeline of my life, of all the things I wanted to achieve in certain increments of time. So 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 25, 30 years, like just over time. Now, I did it in reverse. I went and thought, well, where do I want to be in 30 years? And listed all those things out. Then I went down to 20 years, then to 10 years, and down to 5 years, then down to 1 year, 6 months, and 1 month. Then, because I worked backwards, I then began to think about, well, what can I do this month? Or what am I going to achieve in the next 6 months? So I plan all this stuff out. And some of them were like, I want to work with my brothers in a business. And this is way before I even thought about like how that would happen. And it happened. I've been in business with both my brothers. There's also one, I want to be a Hay House author. I became a Hay House author. I wanted to become an international trainer, and I got that. I've been training around the world in lots of different places. So these vision boards are really good because you look at them, the consistency, as long as you're not feeling scarcity. I mean, the key here is it's got to make you feel good. If you're not feeling good, you're then radiating the opposite of what you desire. So you want to make sure whatever you do, where it be vision boards, where it be positive affirmations, which I've talked about those before when I'm not always convinced that they work. And as a quick roundup, it pretty much means that, look, if there's mold on a wall, I'm not just going to put a new layer of wallpaper on it or a bit of paint because the mold's still there. Sometimes we've got to go behind it, clean out the mold first, and then put paint on it, which would be the affirmation. So we've got to clean and cleanse the unconscious issues before we start to then affirm our desires. So that's another disclaimer there, right there. But anything that we do, it's just got to be fun. It's got to be enjoyable. And not to say it can't be hard. Look, we said this on, where did we say it? When did we do that one? I can't remember now, but it was pretty much, I'm just looking at my list here. I can't see it. But it was pretty much doing things which are hard is okay. Shouldn't make us not go for it. A challenge is a challenge. That's what life's about. So don't shy away from something that is hard, because it's harder to live the life we're living if we're unhappy. But we should do things which will lift us up. Because when we do the hard work, we're going to be at least entering that hard work from a place of positivity. So really get into the mindset, what can I do today where I can operate? In other words, what I'm thinking, the thoughts, the feelings, and also what I'm doing, the behaviors, the things that we do. The more you start to do that, you're going to be in an energetic alignment to your desires. You're going to feel better along that journey, because we're not operating from scarcity. We're not operating from that fear, that self-sabotage, because that's the annoying part. Because we're so focused on the goal and we don't think we're ever going to get there that we trip ourselves up. Well, let's skip that part and even don't have the goal in your mind, but to a degree let it go and go, look, I want that goal or something bigger or better, but either way, I'm going to operate from the feelings it will give me on a day-to-day moment. What can I do right now which will make me feel good, which I will feel when it comes to the goal or the dreams that I desire? And then you take action. That should be the inspired action, because you feel good. It's not like you feel good and then you do nothing, because you're not going to get what you want. You might feel good, but that could be into that whole act as if silliness. I'm a millionaire, I don't need to do anything, where really you're getting evicted soon. But no, you're convincing yourself you're a millionaire. Not going to cut it. But if you begin to feel the feelings you want, you will be inspired to feel more of them. You'll be inspired to be able to get more, to receive more. And that's why I always ask myself questions, specifically when I'm either planning my week. I will ask myself questions of what theme I'm going for. What is my theme for this week? And then I ask myself to be pleasantly surprised by receiving something in that theme. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know if I just feel that feeling, I'm trusting I'll be surprised by what I'm doing, how it gets into my reality closer, because I'm not coming from scarcity. And I also do that in the morning as well. I just ask myself silly little questions, which aren't very silly, but I wonder how good I can feel, and I get that from my dad. I remember when I used to got into hypnosis, and in the beginning it would be semi-annoying. Kind of went into a bit of American, the old semi to semi, the English. It's hard living in two worlds sometimes. But he always say this thing. When I was seeing a client for my first set of clients, he even did it when we're doing trainings and events together, because we still train together. In other words, we teach people. And he'd always just say, I wonder how much fun you can stand. Going into any situation, I wonder how much fun I can stand in this situation. And it just changes, it reframes you. It changes your perception. I'm actually going to have fun. I wonder how I can have fun. So I set up those little questions to myself as to, look, what can I do this week that's going to live by that theme, that goal, that dream? And it doesn't matter if it's financial for my business or impact in the world, or it could be something more personal in my life. It could be about health. I'm going to set up these mini intentions and goals, but I'm going to focus on the feelings of what it will give me. Now, if I operate it from that feeling, I'm either going to get the goal or something better. So Steve said, great reframe, and it absolutely is. I wonder how much fun I can have going into this interview. Automatically, your mind is doing the reverse process of anxiety. Why? Because anxiety is focusing on everything you don't want to happen. It's like your best friend ready to jump out in every single bound of all the horrible things that could happen. Where really, if you start to ask yourself, I wonder how much fun I can have, or I wonder how successful I can be this week. I wonder how, which is a process, right? That's the how I'm going to do it, the action. You don't know it, but I wonder how to be able to get to what I want or to be a certain way. Therefore, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm curious to see what will happen. I wonder how much fun I can stand. I wonder how much I can learn. Now we're going in, like I said, in the reverse, and we're going into the openness of receiving. We're open to what may happen. So just scrolling back on some of this, let's see what we got right here. So Suzanne says, so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing. Happy spring, everyone, and happy spring to you. Spring is my favorite because in spring, in a couple of months anyway, it'll be my birthday. And you also say great analogy with a mold, and that is absolutely true. Like most people just try to like repeat, and even more than that, as the analogy to go deeper into it, if you were to keep on wallpapering over that mold, it will get worse. The mold will keep growing. So when we come to affirmation, we're saying also to potentiality, or the potential of keep on affirming that this is who I am, this is who I am. Your unconscious mind might get bigger and bigger, and it's like, no, I'm not, which actually creates a bigger divide between your conscious and your unconscious. That's why we got to resolve the conflict, and then we can affirm to the unconscious that good, positive, new mindset. Amy says, thank you again, Joseph. You're more than welcome. Okay. And we'll get into the movie stuff as well in a future episode, so I'll look at those on the list there. Lisa says, I will have to go back and listen to this again and then find ways to put it into practice. That's great. And I wonder how you'll put that into practice. I wonder. You said, this makes me excited. Great to have Sue as well, watching from Cheshire, the UK. I used to live... I'm getting my geography. Where is Cheshire for a start? Is that near Chester, or am I just making that up? I used to live near Chester in Liverpool. Close enough anyway, but Cheshire might not be there. Suzanne says, I think get to go to work and not have to go to work. Absolutely. And Steve says this, great. This is like, Steve, I really want you to really, I'm pleased you said this because I'm going to repeat it because it is really, really important. Or something better. The difference that makes a difference. Loving this, Joseph. Yes, because we can be so fixated on our desires that I want $1 million, or I want that person in my life. That's the only person I can be. And you're missing all the other good and even potentially better people. You might be missing out on, if you wanted that $1 million, you might be missing out on a $2 million contract because you're so focused on the $1 million. So that's why you go, look, I want the $1 million or something better. Or I really like that person. I want that person in my life or something better. So that is what we have to get into our mind. It keeps us in this open frame, in other words, an open frame to be able to not be so fixated on the only thing. Because when you get into that, you get obsessed. And obsession can be fine, but not on something specific. Be obsessed with feeling good. Be obsessed with feeling better. Be obsessed of feeling gratitude. Be obsessed and just feeling it. But if we get obsessed on something external, something so specific, you may be missing out on so many beautiful, wonderful other things which are actually better for you. Because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know all the time that that is the best thing for you. And to give it a little test, have there been things in your life you thought you truly wanted, but once you got them, you're like, meh, that wasn't really what I thought. We think we want what we want, but we don't quite know. So we've got to get into that mindset of, look, I want this goal. There's my dream, there's my desire. But I want this or something better. Therefore, we are free from resistance, we are free from potential conflicts, and we're free of missing other better opportunities. So whatever desires you have, whatever goals you have, once again, full loop to bring it back to Neville Goddard in that book, I believe it was Awareness in like the 1950s, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and act upon it with conviction. Assume the feeling of having achieved your goal and then start to feel that feeling as often as possible. If you want money and you think it will give you freedom, you think it will give you security, feel freedom and security as often as possible. Therefore, you're aligned with the same kind of feeling rather than being in that scarcity mindset. You're setting up your unconscious mind to feel good and then want to feel better. Because now I'll go, look, if I feel good without it, I wonder what I'm going to feel once I get what I want. That's going to actually give you more opportunities, going to give you more experience in a very powerful, powerful way. Great to have you, Brittany, from Louisville. Oh my goodness, I'm getting my words all wrong. I'm going to guess that's Kentucky, though, KY. In America, of course. Well, Savage Coffee Tea saying, I finally made this one. Great to have you, my friend. Jamie says, I always know what I don't want, though. Okay, so let's go into that a little bit. I always know what I don't want. Now, if we begin to go into the feelings and thinking about all the things I don't want, it goes back to my analogy of if you were to get into a car and we're going on a journey together. Let's go on a journey, right? We're going on this journey, we're getting into the car, and we don't know how we're going to get there. So we're going to turn on the GPS. I don't know if it's going to be on like your phone or if it's going to be on the car itself, but you put in the GPS, and what do you do first? You put in your destination. You put your postcode or your zip code or wherever country code that you have, the street name, the city, all those things. You put in the destination of your destination, where you want to go. And then the GPS, or the satellite navigation system works that out. Now, let's take that analogy into the mind. Imagine if you went into that GPS system and you typed in every location, every city, every village, every monument you did not want to go to. It would take you forever to get to where you do want to go, because you're focusing on all the things you don't want. Therefore, your mind is geared up to look and to get more of that in your life. So we've got to operate like the satellite navigation, the GPS. We've got to put in our destination. We may be aware of what we don't want because that can be quite normal and natural. But once we're aware of what we don't want, because that's a boundary, that's a condition. Look, I'm giving up this. I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be in debt. But I'm not going to focus in debt. I'm not going to dwell upon debt. I'm not going to focus, well, what debt's going to get me kicked out of my house? It's going to get me kicked out of not having a car. All those things. I'm spiraling now, and that's all I'm feeling. The fear, the scarcity, the worry. So know that they're there. But now let's focus on what we do want. Focus on your destination. Focus on what it would be like to be at that destination. Maybe our destination was to go to the beach. So you're thinking, okay, yeah, I want to get to the beach, but I want to be able to feel the breeze of the ocean. I want to put my feet in the sand. How will that make me feel? That's what I'm going to be radiating in my life, because therefore I'm aligned to that goal. And therefore my unconscious mind is going to look for more of the same. Whether it's the ocean or whether it's something better than the ocean. Maybe it was a different beach in a different part of the world, which is even better. I don't know what I always want. I think I know, but what I can know is what I want to feel. I might want to go to the beach, but what feeling will it give me? And then if I can operate from that feeling, it might be the beach, but it might be somewhere else. Now I'm absolutely energetically, psychologically, physiologically aligned with my desires, and more importantly, my unconscious mind is. It is looking for the answer. That's why we ask ourselves questions. Look, how can I do this? Not why can't I do this? If you say, why can't I do something? The great, wonderful unconscious mind of yours is going to go, well, this is why. Do you remember that time you fell over in front of everyone? You remember when you got rejected? You remember when that relationship ended and it was all your fault? If you look for the reasons why you are like you are, you're going to get justifications and validations of who you are to that point. But if I ask myself, how can I be different? I wonder how I can be happy today. I wonder how I can achieve this goal while having absolute fun in the process. Now my mind, consciously but unconsciously, I am looking for the how, the solution. But more importantly, focusing on the feelings of what it will give me. So I hope that makes wonderful and good and great sense to you. We got to get into that mindset of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and act upon it with conviction, and therefore we are aligned with our desires. We are consciously and unconsciously looking for the solution. And it might not be the solution you wanted or the goal that you wanted. It could be something even more remarkable and more magical than you could ever imagine. And that's the beauty of being open. That's the beauty of having good intentions. That's the greatness about it, that you can be surprised by life because you're not so locked into that dream or your goal or your desire. Now, if you want to be able to get all these episodes, go ahead to freehypnosis.app and you'll be able to download the Android version, the Apple iPhone version or iPad version, and you'll be able to download all of these audios plus well over 100 tracks. We're actually doubling that soon. We're going to have day and night versions of every single track. And if you purchase a track, you're going to get that for free. You're not going to have to buy anything else. If you got the day version, you're getting the free one. And also we're getting a ton more. We're getting a ton. I think that's still real linguistically right. We're getting a ton more. We're getting more new hypnosis tracks, about 60 or so. So that's going to be fun. And if you've unlocked the app, you're going to get those for free as well. You're not going to have to pay more to be able to get it if you've unlocked the app. And if you can go ahead and leave a rating and review, I'd be greatly appreciated. It just means for other people can be able to look at that and go, look, I was in a I spoke to someone via email today, and they said they've had, obviously last year has been crazy hard, but they found the app, and it blew my mind. It always does, but he said that the podcast within the app just kept him going. It gave him enough to keep on going. And it was a long email going all into details, but I was so grateful for that. And when people see reviews like that on the legitimate, real reviews on the app, it inspires people to take action. It inspires people to be able to go into it. And you never know, your review, yeah, it's going to help me, of course. I mean, but I love doing these things. It helps me and allows me to do more of these things. But your review might just transform everything for someone. So I'd really appreciate if you could go ahead and do that. So thank you ever so much for being here today. I wish you a great weekend. I don't know, I might even go live here again, either tomorrow or Sunday. I got my private group who I coach in my program tomorrow morning. But I might do tomorrow evening, we'll see. But if not, maybe Sunday. But then I got to go out for dinner by myself. I said that right. I go out for dinner by myself on Sundays. But I might be able to do tomorrow or Sunday. We'll go ahead and see. But I really appreciate that. And thank you, Lisa, for saying, so appreciate that you share your wisdom with us. You're more than welcome. So pleased that you're here, as always. Steve says, inspiring as ever, Joseph. Must remember to turn on the notifications of your lives. That'll be really cool. Yeah, if you do that, then Twitch. Sorry, I'm actually broadcasting on Twitch, by the way. I don't even know what Twitch is really that often, but I'm doing on there, and I think their notifications are pretty good. I probably get like ever one viewer there. I've only done it like 2 times. But off to drop you that review. Thank you, my friend. You said stay safe, stay happy, and stay in touch. I sure will even, and I totally appreciate you, Steve. Thank you ever so much. And sorry, I got the wrong one there, but let's see what we said. I've had it before, should have stayed with, so I'm presuming the app. Yeah, go straight to the app. And yeah, it sometimes takes time to get there. Una says, helped with the interview nerves. Fantastic. So happy to know that. That makes my day. And you said you left a review. I so appreciate you for that. Jamie says you'll download it again. Notifications are on. And Say says, congratulations, Una. Which I echo that in every single way. I'm so pleased you got value from it. And thank you once again for everyone here this evening. I wish you the most wonderful evening. Always know whatever you think you are always more. You're always more. And you got everything you need to be able to make that change. Yeah, it can be hard, but it's not impossible. Sometimes we've got to kind of dive deep on the inside to be able to get to know who we really are anyway. Sometimes the hard things actually cause us to wake up to realize how strong we really were. And I say that from experience because I used to live in fear, live in dread. And I realized once I let go of my issues, it was the greatest awakening because I had the contrasting experience, but also my issues caused me to wake up to the world, caused me to wake up that there's something more to life. So thank you ever so much, my friends. I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.